if I can hear myself. Can I hear myself? Yes. All right. Salam. My name is Mustafa. What am I? I'm a game developer. If you're new to this channel, I talk about problems in the game industry. I'm late today. I'm very late. How late am I? I said 10 o'clock and now it's almost 2:20. So what, 2.5 hours late. I'm sick. My kids are sick. It was crazy this morning, but we're doing this. We're doing this live. I got my tissues next to me. In fact, I should bring this closer in case I need to blow my nose. Yeah, so I'm gonna just talk for a little bit as the chat starts to populate. And so today's discussion is going to be on Tim Sweeney, Mr. Tim Sweeney, not to be confused with Sydney Sweeney. But Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games. We're going to talk about let me make sure this is right in front of me, his statements on AI. You stop moving. If only I could show like what this looks like. The stand is like a flexible stand. I can adjust it. And so when the desk moves, the stand also moves as well because it's a flexible stand. Anyways, so before I get into the main topic, I just want to say that, well, let's see, what else? What's going on? I'm still working my warehouse job, so my schedule is crazy. As I mentioned, I'm getting sick. I'm not fully sick. Oh, okay, I should turn that off. Okay, yeah, let me put that away. Okay, so, yeah. I'm getting sick. Let me get the stuff that I want to talk about on my screen real quick. Yeah, so my schedule is still crazy, and my what's it called? My video on Black Ops 7 is doing really well. Let's see. Let me sort by the amount of views. So it is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is my 5th best performing video right now. So that's pretty cool. That it's still getting lots of views at the moment. It is at 23K views. It's still going pretty strong. It looks like it's starting to slow down a little bit though, but I finally got past the hump. Hey, Servan Balahi, welcome to the chat. So yeah, I finally got past. So for months, I was stuck at the end of 6,790 subscribers. Like it kept on going up and down. The amount of subscribers I was losing was almost the same as how much I was gaining. Which could be for multiple reasons. People lose interest in the channel, could be deactivated accounts, could be bots, etc. So there's multiple reasons as to why I'm losing subscribers, but I wasn't gaining at a fast enough rate. And then with this Black Ops 7 video, I gained 140 subscribers, still getting lots of views, and now I am approaching 7,000. I'm at 6,958 subscribers. So I'm actually getting close to 7,000 at this point, less than 50, 42 subscribers away from getting my 7K, which that's pretty cool. Finally seeing some progress with that. And more importantly with that video, I got lots of very positive comments, like comments that agree with me, comments that people, are basically very supportive. Missed the last stream due to work. It's good to be back. Hey, yeah, I did notice that you weren't here last week. But I did do a different time. I did like multiple hours later. But yeah, I appreciate you you showing your support, Saravan Balahi. Thanks for showing up. Sorry for the weird schedule. Things are crazy right now. But yeah, the Black Ops 7 video, lots of people being very supportive. It's at a 94% like rate. So it has like 1,007 likes and 62 dislikes. So most people are being very supportive. I got like 2 or 3 people saying dumb things like, "Oh, this guy didn't even work at Treyarch." It's like that can easily be proven. I literally show a picture of myself within the first 20 seconds of the video, standing in Treyarch holding a prop gun from Black Ops 3. Plus, you could just look at, like, I'm on Moby Games. You can easily go to Moby Games. Let's go to Moby Games real quick. Moby Games, video game database. I mean, I'm not trying, like, I'm not trying to get all offended or whatever about people not believing me, but it's just a dumb thing to state. Let's see, Mustafa Hassani, because like you can easily prove it. There I am. That's me, and I'm in the credits of those games. Like that's literally me. The thing that's frustrating though is that my game, Nexus Defenders, is not showing up, which I submit to them last year, and then they said I did something wrong, so I resubmit. And I guess because they get so many submissions, the queue gets backed up, and they care more about big games than indie games. So I have to wait a really long time for them to get around to reviewing my submission. Reviewing my submission for Nexus Defenders. So it's not showing up on here right now. Is there even a Nexus Defenders? It's not. Oh, wait. Yeah, there it is. Oh, there's another game called Nexus Defenders? What is this? What is this nonsense? Oh, that's Nexus Defense. Okay. All right. Okay. I was about to go nuts. This is not my game. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Nexus Defenders. This is the old image though. And these are old screenshots. I guess there's I'd have to like resubmit screenshots. But you know, it's kind of lame that this is not showing up on, like, you know, connected with me on Moby Games. But there I am. So it's like making the point that I never worked at Treyarch is kind of like it's a claim that can be easily disproven. Okay? If I were to say something that is hard to disprove, that's one thing, but you can easily reference credits for games. And am I even Zwift? I'm pretty sure there's no credits for this game. No one's on the credits. Yeah, there's no credits. They were trying to add a credits to this game at one point, but I don't think they ever went through and added the credits to the game. So because there's no credits in the game for this, I can't really verify myself. I don't know. That's lame. I mean, I did work on this, but anyways, let's switch back. So today's topic, it's like a continuation of last week's, which I talked about the use of AI in video games. And let me start recording the local recording. Okay, there we go. All right. Because this is going to double up. I'm going to use this stream to make the video for this week. Just finding time to record multiple video, like doing this as well as another video, it's getting harder at the moment with my work schedule. So I'm just going to do a local recording of this, cut it down, and make a shorter video. So that's why I'm going to do that. Though, so I have a lot of notes with me that I'm going to cover, and I have, let's see, 6 sections. 6 major points. So I'm going to basically cover the point, and then I'm going to look at chat and reply to chat in between the points, because I don't want to just go straight through everything, just go straight through my outline and then go to chat, because the whole point of this live stream is for the interaction. So I'm not going to exclude the interaction. Plus, you guys might bring up something that I missed throughout the video, and it might be useful to include that in the recording if you guys bring up a point that I didn't bring up. But that's the plan for this one. Just go through the outline. Hopefully that takes about half hour or so, and then I use the remainder of time to reply to chat and talk about anything else you guys want to talk about. So how long has this been going? This has been going for 11 minutes so far. All right, yeah, 11 minutes. All right. So, man, I'm just a mess. I should at least fix this up. Okay, man, I'm like I said, I'm sick. This is one thing I was afraid of yesterday. Yesterday, I was planning on doing the video, but I didn't have things prepared, and also I had to go to work in the afternoon. Today I don't have to work, and I said if I delay this to tomorrow, which is today, what's going to happen is I'm going to get sick, and it's going to make the recording rougher. And there we go. I'm sick. Plus, I feel like the entire all my days off I'm going to be sick, and then I'm going to, once I get better, then I'm going to go back to work. So that's life. Fun times. So anyways, I'm going to also include the introduction for the video. So, don't mind that. I just want to make sure that I have the hook and introduction that I always have, so I don't have to re-record it. So anyways, let me sit up a little bit. All right. So this first part I'll probably just read, and I'll put some B-roll on top of it. But then I'm going to try to keep as much eye contact as possible, because it's important to have eye contact during these videos. And I might have to restate a sentence, because if I get tongue-tied in the middle of a sentence, it's better for me to just start over for the sentence. So I might repeat myself a few times. Yay, yay. Thanks. I appreciate the support. All right. The gaming industry is fighting a massive war over the Made with AI label. Players want to know if their game is slop, and Tim Sweeney wants to hide the evidence. But while we argue over pixels and but while we argue over art and ChatGPT, we are ignoring the real transparency scandal. Why do we demand a warning sticker for AI tools, but we don't demand warning labels for studios that physically abuse that? Well, I should not say that word within the first 10 seconds of the YouTube video. ABUSE. I didn't even think about that. All right. But while we argue over art and ChatGPT, the important thing is to notice that this issue is more than just a black and white issue. There's depth to it, and we need to look at it with nuance. There, that's a better hook. Salam, my name is Mustafa. I am the founder of Sabr. I am a game developer. I've worked in the game industry, such as doing administrative work at Treyarch, as well as QA work. I also do solo development as an indie developer for Sabr. I have one game on Steam and another that's currently in development. Eventually. All right, let me scroll down, get all my notes in front of me. So to add context to the situation, Tim Sweeney went on Twitter. Let me see. Do I even have this on here? I did not have the context. Tim Sweeney went on Twitter and complained that Valve should remove their Made with AI label. He says that AI will be involved in nearly He says that AI will be involved in nearly all future production. So specifically, having the Made with AI label is redundant and pointless. Hey, Salam Muhsin. Thanks for joining. I'm doing a video at the moment, but I will still interact with chat. I'm still gonna, in between points, I'm gonna still read chat. So this is gonna be part of the video once I cut it down and edit it. So the problem with this is that it conflates generative AI, creating assets or codes from scratch, with traditional. No, this let's I don't like that point. Let's move on. So many influencers online have been refuting Tim's points. They say that ubiquity is why labels are needed. For example, high fructose corn syrup is in everything, but it's still labeled in the ingredients regardless that it's in everything. We still need it listed for transparency reasons. The problem with this, though, is that it fails to define what exactly triggers the AI label. If a coder uses GitHub Copilot, and they use that to auto-complete their coding, does the game deserve the Made with AI label? If yes, then the label being included in almost all games just becomes noise over time. A label that's used for over 90% of games is going to be pointless. So I do agree with this part of Tim Sweeney's point that generative AI is going to be inevitable in the majority of all future game development productions. AI is becoming more integrated in all of the boring aspects of development. As I mentioned already, GitHub Copilot is being used widely by coders, programmers, and scripters. It's predictive coding that autofills for you as you code. It does make mistakes though, but it's becoming used more widely to the point that coders who don't use GitHub Copilot are much slower when it comes to developing code. Also, generative AI is starting to be used in other use cases. For example, with textures, with seamless textures, as well as using Adobe's generative fill to fix issues or expand backgrounds. Also, it's being commonly used, it's starting to be used with animations such as rigging, which a lot of developers do not enjoy rigging at all. Generative AI is being used to make these more boring processes much quicker. The best solution that I've seen online is from the The best solution I've seen online is from Mojang founder Notch. Instead of tagging games with made with AI, he suggests flipping it around. He says, let's have a not made with AI script. And this turns it into a human-made status, a premium status, rather than a warning sticker. Though while I think this is the best solution, it's still a flawed solution. The issue with this is that it's very easy to prove when a game has AI in it, but it's nearly impossible to prove when a game doesn't have generative AI in it. How do you prove a programmer didn't use ChatGPT to help debug? This invites to witch hunts, impossible audits, and more cancel culture. Okay, so let me catch up with chat. I mean to play devil's advocate. There is a redundancy to some degree. No one says made with Unity or drawn with Krita. So the point with I will mention that is in my notes as far as like the made with Unity label, and it's like having those at the splash screen, like made with Unity, Speed Tree, Havoc. I'm gonna go into those very soon, just to avoid redundancy. I'm not gonna go into that, but I will go into that. How will Steam determine how much AI is used to make a game? Is there a limit to triggers to the tag? Yeah, and that's a problem, because how do we determine how much AI is used? AI is becoming integrated into the operating systems. So will any game developed with Windows or Mac, will they need to have the AI made with AI tag? Okay, so made with AI label on Steam is specifically targeting generative AI, not coding. Well, the thing with in their dev, what's the word? The documentation, it states. Let me find that real quick. Just to make sure that I'm not misquoting them. I'm not gonna pull up on stream because of the fact that the dev documentation is not. It's on NDA, so I'm not allowed to share that on stream. So let's see. AI Gen. Okay, so the content survey. Okay. All right, generative artificial intelligent content. So this says the third part of the survey. So the survey has general content. That's the first part. The second part is mature content. And this is all self-reported. But the third part is generative AI content. The third part of this survey, how about I do this? How about I copy? No, I don't want to get in trouble. I'll just read it out loud. I was going to copy and paste it into Word, but I don't want to get in trouble. So I'll just read it out loud. It says, if your game used AI services during development or incorporated AI services as part of the product, the section will require you to describe the implementation in detail. First bullet point, pre-generated, any kind of content, art, code, sound, etc. So that's everything. Created with the help of AI tools during development under the Steam distribution agreement. You promise Valve that your game will not include illegal or infringing content and that your game will be consistent with your marketing materials. In our pre-release review, we will evaluate the output of the AI-generated content in your game the same way we evaluate non-AI content, including a check that your game meets those promises. And then there's live generated, which is basically when it's generating stuff on the fly, like generating voice, AI voice, chat to AI voice, or dialogue, etc. Though that's that part. And then it says, as an aside, AI in games is rapidly evolving, and we want to get it right. Many artists and creators are rightfully concerned about exploitation and misuse, but we also realize that technology and tools are going to change a bunch over the years. And there's a lot of creative game developers out there figuring out ways to ethically use AI to make great entertainment. If you plan to release a product on Steam and think we're overlooking something important regarding AI, we'd love to hear from you. And it has a link to a forum. So this includes everything. Anything that's made with generative AI, code, dialogue. It's not just art. It's everything. Call of Duty 7 did such a poopy job with AI. Whoa. I'm going too fast. Come on, what made them think Ghibli art style is okay for a military shooter? And it's like knights and stuff like that. Don't forget about retropology as well. What's retropology? Dispatch felt made very much by humans. Okay. I'm kind of interested in Dispatch. I mean, I don't have time for a lot of games these days, but I really like the Telltale stuff, and I understand that a lot of the devs from Telltale worked on Dispatch. Just because everyone uses it, thus pointless, doesn't mean we should disclose it. The same with processed food industry ingredients, maybe noise. To most people, but they're helpful for your diet. I will cover that. Let's see. Did I skip something? All right, and the made with AI tag also discloses which are made with AI, which are not on the store page. Question: what if your game has innovative use of AI in gameplay, like emergent NPC conversation? So that lands within the live generated, which I covered. They will basically. So let me go ahead and read what it says. Any kind of content created with the help of AI while the game is running, in addition to following the same rules as pre-generative AI content, this comes with an additional requirement. In the content survey, you will tell us what kind of guardrails you're putting on your AI to ensure it's not generating illegal content. So illegal content can also mean inappropriate content. For example, having characters that are presented as children saying things that they shouldn't be saying. So there should be guardrails toward, basically Valve wants guardrails as far as how is a developer preventing people from exploiting the generative AI. I guess an example that actually happened would be having Darth Vader in Fortnite just start saying all sorts of stuff. Like, he was saying negative things about the prequels. So, of course, Disney wouldn't want their main character, Darth Vader, from talking trash about their own movies. So apparently they did not put the right guardrails to prevent him from saying certain things. Let's see. Maybe self-reported, but the requirement is disclosed really helps consumers. They're not labels to discriminate that only. So if the most AI-made games are slop. It's a process where we make a high poly mesh into a game. Did I skip some? Oh, retropology. Okay. It's a process that high poly mesh into a game ready low poly assets. It's called retropology. Okay. All right. Yeah, that sounds helpful. I think it's a false dichotomy for the consumer, comparing food labels versus game labels. Like peanut allergy warning is important. How does knowing the game music was generated by AI matter? And I do cover this in my notes. So the next point, let me go ahead and start talk about the next point. So Tim Sweeney's stance is, why do the labels matter? Why stop at AI use? We can have a mandatory. I'll just have this on screen, so I'll just read it. Why stop at AI use? We can have a mandatory disclosure for what shampoo brand the developers use. This is clear sarcasm that doesn't help the conversation at all. Many YouTubers, many influencers have pointed out that their argument is that it's like food allergies, or it's like their argument is it's like having a list of ingredients on a food label. Customers have the right to know what's inside. And also, I've heard the argument that it's like the splash screen at the start of a game, seeing logos such as Speed Tree and Havoc when you first boot up the game. So why not have a logo saying made with AI as well? The flaw with these arguments, the flaw with the first argument with the food labels is that it's not a fair comparison. It's not a one-to-one comparison comparing food and entertainment. Having an allergy or some reason why you can't eat a specific ingredient is different from having a preference of not wanting to support a certain type of development process. Those aren't really the same thing, and it's not a fair comparison. As for having the logos such as Made with Unity, Unreal, Havoc, SpeedTree, etc., this is a bad comparison as well. Games display these logos not because they want to or they're proud to have worked with these tools. They display these logos because they're legally mandated through their licensing, through their software licensing agreement. It's not for transparency reasons. It's not for transparency reasons. There are lots of tools that developers use that developers don't mention anywhere. For example, using Jira, Notion, Visual Studio, Photoshop. And all of these tools now have AI integrated into them. Not only do these tools never get mentioned on the splash screen or anywhere in development, but due to them having AI integrated in them, is this going to trigger the Made with AI label? Going off of what Notch suggested, having a label that says not made with AI. I think the better analogy with food would be having a label that says organic or non-GMO. Or for athletes such as natty bodybuilders versus those who use performance enhancing, versus those who uses such as natty bodybuilders versus those who use performance enhancers. So the thing with those labels such as organic and natural athlete, those can be proven through tests. Like there are pesticides that we can test to see if they are in the foods and therefore label it as GMO free or organic. Same with performance enhancing. Same with athletes to test if they are performance and same with athletes to see if they are using performance enhancers. So the difference between having a label for a game that says not so the difference between having a game that says human made versus food that says organic is that there's really no way to test to see if the game is organic or made without AI. Those labels such as organic and natural athlete are based off of objective tests. There's currently no objective test to see if a game is not made with AI. And that's the flaw with this, solution. It only relies on self-reporting. Also, this is critical to understand. Also, having a label such as not made with AI is critical for supply chains such as asset stores. When an indie developer such as myself uses assets from any sort of asset store, we're not always it is going to be up to us to determine if that asset was truly made with a human or not. If the person who made the asset claims it was made by a human, and then I use the asset and it wasn't made by a human, then it ends up that my game has AI. And that is another issue with having the made with AI disclosure. Let me look at the chat. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I have to scroll up too far. There we go. Okay. All right. So I read that. Okay. The self-reported, but the requirement to disclose really helps consumers. They're not labels to discriminate. Okay, I think I read that one. Okay, read that. I think, yeah, read that. The thing with Darth Vader was actually funny. It boils down to this: are the tools and artists of any relevance to the consumer? Why is it important to know AI was used to inform preferences? I think it's mainly because there's a very vocal group of people who, for them, it's a deal breaker. But it would also be like, okay, let's say, for example, I'm really against Microsoft. I think they're a terrible company and they're ruining the world. And then I want to boycott anything that's made with a Microsoft product. That, I don't know, it just becomes like an impossible task. But basically, I mean, it's a preference. And the preference is being pushed by a very vocal minority. Customers are paying for the product, so why shouldn't they know? The thing is, like, where do we draw the line with that? I understand. I definitely understand where you're coming from, but where do we draw the line? Like, do we list everything off? Do we list off that I used Visual Studio? Do we list off that I used Notion instead of Jira? Do I list off that I used Google Workspace? The list becomes never ending as far as like everything I used for developing the game. Food ingredients listing may be to avoid life-threatening decisions, but why are we excusing customer rights just because everyone else uses them? Oh, the point the point that I am going with as far as using Notch's solution of made by human or made not with AI, it's more that this solution makes it more of a prestigious label rather than having everything. Like if 95% of games have this label, then it just becomes noise. It becomes pointless. No one's going to look at it's going to be a very small percentage of people looking at the label to begin with. In addition to that, it's going to be harder to filter out. If I were to go into, for example, the Steam store and I want to filter out games made with AI, the list of games that have this label are going to be it's going to be so much. I mean, of course, I guess it goes either way. Like I can turn off avoid the label. So never mind. I nullified my own point. But regardless, having a made with human would result to a shorter list of games rather than made with AI. That would just be the entire thing. Oh, that's perfect. Organic games from now on. I scrolled too fast. All right. Do you use AI in your workflow now? Yes. Well, I haven't done a lot in the last year. I haven't done a lot of development because I've just been too busy trying to pay bills. But in my first game, I even used AI art, which I'm straightforward with that. I don't want to hide information. I'm transparent. I do use AI art in my games. Plus, I use LLMs for organizing thoughts and documentation a lot. Sabr said that the main reason it's tools that are listed are mostly mandated to be listed. If they are not mandated, they tend to be forgotten, like Newtonsoft, Visual Studio, etc. So I don't see the problem. List what you can. It's the Wild West. People will tell you what you should and shouldn't be listing when that time comes. Yeah, I mean, so when it comes to me, I'm mainly concerned about the credits page and whatever shows up on the splash screen, which right now, whatever shows up on my splash screen is made with Unity. I think they updated it so I don't have to have made with Unity anymore, because it used to be mandated anyone who is not using a paid version of Unity has to have made with Unity. You have to pay the professional version of Unity to be able to disable the splash screen. So I think now I'm able to disable it. But aside from that, the main thing I'm concerned about is who I'm putting on the credits. Of course, I made the game, so I put myself on there, but I want to include everyone who helped me, such as play testers, consultants. If my music requires that I disclose, because I use royalty-free music, and it depends on the license. Sometimes I'm required to, show that license. Sometimes I'm not. It depends on the item. Like I'm not going to if I have an asset pack, for example, I in my last game I used all sorts of different asset packs that are low poly, and I have an asset pack. Like I have asset packs that don't require me to disclose that the creator, and the majority, let's say the majority of my assets are from Synty, Synty. Synty is a low poly styled artist. If I primarily use Synty and then I just use one car from another asset pack, and that asset pack doesn't require me to disclose I use that asset, and I'm not going to just list off that asset pack just because I used one car. like the list becomes unnecessarily long just because I'm using one from here, one from there, and if they don't require me, then I don't need to. But if they do require, then I will list off uh, all the developers who made that content. Let's see. I think, and I agree. It's better to say made with human. People will definitely be driven to the same tools and have similar disclosures. It's like your typical get ignore file. There will be a template if people keep disclosing. We don't say machine made for factory products. We say handmade for artisan things. Yeah, exactly. That is a more prestigious label. Unity stopped the splash screen requirement with Unity 6. Okay, great. I don't want to have that splash screen because I don't like. I want to get people in the game faster. There's also a risk of massive, lazy asset flip games made entirely from AI. Good to know what to avoid thanks to the made with AI label. And so that's going to be one of my points I'm going to cover soon, and it's. Yeah, I'll cover that. I'm not going to like repeat myself too much, just so this stream doesn't go too long. If your game is good, made with AI, label won't stop it. Yeah, no, I agree with that. So let's see. What was the last point I made? The quality question: slop versus intention. Okay, yeah. So this is actually the point I was about to go into next. So, Tim Sweeney made the point that AI is being used in development. It's going to be used in the majority of future productions, and it's a tool for efficiency. Many are afraid that this would mean to more slop, and the thing is that slop is going to exist regardless, with or without AI. The market will naturally filter out the slop. So let me scroll up a little bit. All right. The argument that I see a lot of influencers make is that this is a necessary label to filter out slop. For example, Black Ops 7 had generative AI Ghibli style, what are they called? Calling cards. The flaw with this is that the label doesn't actually indicate quality. A game can be 100% made without AI. And it will still be slop if it's just a random asset flip, which we can easily find many of those from the past years on Steam, before generative AI became a thing. The label is not necessarily a label of quality. And yeah, I do agree that these large corporations, especially the larger studios such as Ubisoft, they want to take shortcuts to churn out slop. But these large studios such as Ubisoft are going to do slop regardless. The past 10 years, they've been churning out single-player games with the exact same formula. A big open world that's filled with nothing meaningful to do other than small tasks that are meant only to waste your time. This is the formula they've been using for the past 10 years. So whether they use AI or not, it's not going to be an indication as to whether it's not going to be an indication as to the intention that the developers use when using these AI generative tools. If the developers use the AI generative tools to help speed up processes, and and focus on quality, they can do that with these tools. But if their intention is just to churn out a product as fast as possible, they're going to do that regardless as to whether they have AI or not. All right, let me catch up with chat. If your game, okay, I read that. Let me scroll up a little bit. Man, I'm having a headache because I'm sick. Oh, man. Unless a team or crazy talented single dev intentionally sits down and refuses to use any AI whatsoever, I don't know how the organic label will be achieved. I mean, I see so many. So indie game dev is a whole circle on YouTube. If you're not familiar with it, there's a whole subcategory of videos that's specifically indie game dev. People who do devlogs talking about their updates to their games, etc., or tutorials on how to make games. And some of these people have basically made developing their game into their business. I see so many, like a lot of these indie developers, they get called snake oil salesmen because they're selling the idea of making a game without actually finishing their own game. Because their whole career on YouTube is to show off that they're developing a game, and they literally take years. They take like 5, 6, 7 years, and still the game's not done. So that's why they get called snake oil salesmen, especially when they eventually start selling like a Udemy course, how to make a game with Unity or how to make a game with Unreal. And it's like, yo, you've been working on your game for 7 years. This level looks nice, but you haven't even released your own game. So that's a whole problem with indie dev YouTube, is that some people just make their game forever. Like they spend years just making a game and never finish. Draw a line. Okay. It's really hard to draw a line on how much AI qualifies as organic versus slop. I think. So I'm going. Do I still have that on here? Did it disappear? Reviews. Oh yeah, I skipped this. All right. The solution to this problem is to focus on reviews to determine whether the game is slop, not labels. We rely on reviewers to tell us the quality of the game. Whether the game is boring, whether the game has lazy assets, etc. Or whether it's broken, etc. We should rely more on... Yes, reviewers are getting unreliable, but finding people online who are honest about reviewing a game is going to be a more reliable label or a more reliable process than for us to look at a label and simply determine whether the game is slop or not. Okay, yeah. I skipped that one. So, all right. So let me finish this up. Yeah, that's that guy on Twitch calls himself Thor. I got the reference. Oh, there are too many ads? Okay, I will make an adjustment. Let me just do that right now. My bad. I will. So I have it set to 18 minutes. Live. Let's change this up. Monetization. Let me change this. Automatic? That's not... No way. It was supposed to be 18 minutes. Why is it set to automatic? All right, save. Because when it's automatic, it's like every 2 minutes or every 6 minutes. I had it set to 18 minutes. Okay, all right. Hopefully I fix it for you. Sorry about that. I guess it went back to the default somehow. And automatic is the default. And default, like by default, YouTube just pumps a bunch of ads. So I figure 18 minutes is like a fair amount of time, especially since I'm trying to shoot for 90 minutes. Oh, I'm hitting close to hitting an hour. All right. So let me get my notes back up. Let me get back to, that guy on Twitch. Pirate Software, I didn't know he did courses though. No, I don't think he has a course. I wasn't referring to him specifically, but there are like once you dive into game dev YouTube, there's a lot. Like I guess the most famous one, one of the bigger ones is Thomas Brush. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him, but he's very well known with indie devs. Thomas Brush, like his actual last name is Brush, and this guy has turned making video games into a business, like selling the idea of making video games into a business. And then a lot of indie devs started copying him, and they started, because they realized that when they make videos about making games, that attracts an audience of people who want to make games. And those people are not interested in buying their games. They're interested in making games. So then they ended up spinning their business into, rather than I'm going to sell my game, they decide, okay, I'm going to sell the idea of making games because all my entire audience all wants to make games. So that's why they ended up selling courses. That's one thing. That's one of the reasons why I went this direction with my channel, because of course at the end of the day, your brand, your channel is part of the business. Like I don't do this just because it's fun to do. Yes, it is fun to do, especially interacting with you guys. But I believe in supporting my family, and I should be putting time into building the business. And if I'm making video games and I want to sell my game, and I have social media to attract people towards my brand, then I should talk about things that gamers want to hear about. So that's the main reason why I went with this direction, which definitely it's definitely working in as far as compared to what I previously used to do. I used to basically do what all the other devs did, is making dev vlogs, and I ended up unlisting those videos because no one was watching them. No one cared. So that's one reason why I went into this direction. Hold on. Oh, man. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. All right, let's get the... Okay, let me catch up. Heartbound is not a finished game. It is not. It is not a finished game. As far as I understand, it is not a finished game. Heartbound is still not finished to this day. Only up to chapter 2 or 3. Brush-san, that is. Yeah. Thomas Brush does have finished games. Whoa. Do I have this too close? Anyways, all right. Yeah, Thomas Brush does have finished games. The thing is, though, I feel like he makes more money off of his making games business than actually making games. And that's, but even though he does make games, people have been calling him out, saying, "Hey, you've been working on this latest game for like 5 years," and I don't know. Anyways, let's let me move on. I think I passed by Brush's content once, but I didn't get on it. I'm glad I didn't get to the snake oil algo yet. Most of the indies I've got at least have released one game on itch or something. Yeah, and I mean I only released one game, which I've been sitting on Beware Tomorrow for like a year now, like literally very little progress. I'm hoping once this teaching job is like currently on hold because the semester is over, but hopefully once the teaching job gives me more hours and more classes to teach, then that would give me more time to develop games, because once I have all the material made for the lectures, then I don't have to make new material. So, but the warehouse job is taking not only a lot of my time, but like physically messing me up too. Like my thumb hurts. I don't know why. It just started hurting the other day. Like I don't know. I just use a Telzon to scan items, and maybe I use it. I don't know. My thumb hurts. My fingers are cracked up because of the cardboard boxes. They're bleeding and stinging everywhere. But that's called being a man and providing for your family. That's what it's called. Let's see. There was a bracky on how to code in Unity. Good old time. Yeah, but a lot of people really like brackies. Sabr, hope you get well soon. Take some rest if you need the chicken soup. Yeah, my wife did make some chicken soup. And I actually slept in this morning. I woke up 5 a.m. I was like, okay, get my notes ready for this live stream. And then I went back to sleep. And then I woke up like at 9 a.m. and I was like, oh, I got an hour to get ready for this live stream. And that's why I started late. Thank you for the heart. Oh, did I miss? Okay, that was last time. Oh, 8 minutes ago. There we go. Mace Game Dev. Let me play that again. Whoa, I missed this. I didn't notice it because I don't have my headphones on, so I can't hear it. Thanks for the subscription. I appreciate you. And if anyone wants to leave a super chat, they're welcome, but not required. I do not require them. As you can see, I'm going through the chat. So anyways, let's get through the next point. Sabotage argument. So let me take a drink. So many influencers have been making the point that Tim Sweeney is trying to sabotage his that Tim Sweeney is trying to sabotage his competition. I see lots of influencers mention how successful Steam is and how unsuccessful Epic Game Store is. He has no right to he has no right to say what Steam is doing with their store. They're saying that he wants to stop moving. They're saying that he wants to not only hurt Valve with Steam, but also give himself an excuse to make Slop, which I already covered. Personally, I think this is an ad hominem attack. This is a distraction. Personally, I think this is an ad hominem attack, a distraction. This is attacking the messenger rather than addressing the actual point. I think this is a lazy dismissal of actually arguing back regarding the situation. This is the exact same fallacy that people will make when they hear an opinion they don't like. For example, when someone says they don't like a movie, and then the person who likes the movie says, well, you're not a director. You haven't made a movie yourself. Just because Tim's game store is not as successful as Steam doesn't mean that we shouldn't address his actual point. When we attack the character rather than his point, then we're muddying up the conversation. Let me look at AI. Oh, hey, Multimedia J. Welcome to the stream, Multimedia J. I remember you. AI is a bit of a I mixed words together. AI is just a witch hunt. People are just mad when computers do stuff that people used to do. Yeah, I agree to a point. There are legit issues with AI, especially with what it's doing with the economy and the environment. I think those are the most important issues, like driving up costs of chips, putting coolant stations or coolant plants next to low income housing. I think these are all legitimate issues. And the thing is, I think not purchasing games or just complaining online about games that use AI is not going to solve those problems. Those problems are being pushed by billionaires, politicians, etc. Like, for example, the big, beautiful bill that just passed, I don't know how many months ago, that gave so much money towards OpenAI and all these other AI corporations to basically build behind people's back doors and cooling stations, and it sucks up all the electricity that's being generated for that city. I do think there are legitimate issues, but I feel like the majority of the complaints aren't addressing the legitimate issues, and they're not bringing up practical solutions. I think the practical solutions is to not allow these companies like OpenAI, etc. I think the practical solutions are to not allow them to do all these things. But I mean, it's $1 trillion business, so of course all these politicians are going to let it happen. It's an ad hominem with history, though. Tim Sweeney did the same with Steam banned crypto. We don't see. Okay, so RAM prices. Okay, yeah. So let me address this for the video because that is a good point. While Tim Sweeney does have a history of pushing personal agenda, such as crypto and NFTs, I think it's worth mentioning these things, but also having the main focus on the actual on the actual problem, or the actual having the main focus on the actual issue rather than having the focus on his character. That is a good point. The ribbon red ribbon army. Is that what your name's supposed to be about? The Red Ribbon Army? Man, can't breathe. All right. Tim Sweeney. So Tim Sweeney mentions that AI tags. Tim Sweeney mentions that AI tags fuel cancel campaigns and hurt small developers. He previously stated that he doesn't approve of he previously stated that he doesn't approve of data scraping without permission, data scraping without permission. But he thinks that the store label is the wrong place to police it. Critics have been calling this a contradiction, saying that he hates scraping but hides AI. It is not a contradiction, though, that you can. I don't feel like this is a contradiction, though, because having the I don't like how I worded on the notes. I don't think it is a contradiction to state that the author of the data needs to be compensated correctly, but also be in favor of AI being used. I think these are two different issues that shouldn't be clumped together. The problem isn't hypocrisy, it's the verification. If you remove the label, the consumer has no way to verify. No, let's move on. Okay, so some influencers online have been stating that transparency enables trust, that transparency builds trust. Hiding AI in your game builds bad PR. It looks like the devs are hiding something if they refuse to want to use the made with AI label. The issue with this though is that it's very selective with what developers need to be transparent with. It's hyper focused on this one thing rather than issues that are violating human rights. For example, Ubisoft, Naughty Dog, and other large studios have outsourced to support studios such as Brandoville Studios, located in Indonesia. Due to the workers' rights laws being more lax in Indonesia, it is alleged that Brandoville has been that is not a word I want to say. I don't want to say ABUSE. What's a better word? Because I don't want to say that on YouTube. Well, Brandoville has been. It's alleged that Brandoville has been physically tormenting their employees through a number of different methods, such as having one of the developers punch herself in the face 100 times and record it. Major publishers such as Ubisoft reach out to these studios such as Brandoville specifically because they're cheaper. So I do admit, though, that bringing this up is whataboutism. Stating it can be seen as a distraction. It can be seen as a distraction from the issue of AI, and we don't have to focus on one or the other. The point being, though, is where do we draw the line with transparency? How far and what exactly does a game developer have to list off? They list off every tool that they make. They list off every tool that they use, every studio that they contacted, etc. The documentation becomes out of hand at a certain point. Okay. Let's look at the chat. Okay, yeah, well, there's a lot. Okay, let me go. Okay, grand prices, yeah. Broken clock, all right, twice kind of thing. Okay, all right, Sarah and Vlahi. It's hard to sleep with your nose blocked due to the cold. Yeah, it's hard to do it. It's hard to talk when I can't breathe through my nose. So it's perfectly fine for human beings to be inspired and take style cues from artists, etc. But the minute a computer does everything, flips out, like I said, which I mean, yeah, there is a bit of hypocrisy to it, but I can also understand the viewpoint, because art is communication, and art is a form of expression. Expression is a form of communication. And when we want to communicate, it should be a human communicating towards another human. when we end up leaving all the creativity towards the non-human counterpart, then it becomes just programming. It becomes just noise, and I can understand that. But if it's used as a tool rather than just, okay, I'm gonna write a simple prompt, hit generate, and take the first thing that comes out, like, yeah, that's lazy. That's slop. There needs to be a distinction between, I'm going to use this tool to help refine what I'm making and make it more efficient and make it faster, improve the quality, versus I'm going to just tell Grok, generate an image of me high-fiving Mike Tyson, and then I post it online. Like there's a big difference. Although rock bands inspired Led Zeppelin should be paying Led Zeppelin. Computers don't get inspired. AI, they are like on that point that they don't get inspired. It is the reason why. So the reason why I think artists should not be afraid of AI taking their jobs or replacing them, is because it's literally impossible. It's literally impossible for AI to come up with something creative. What AI does is it looks through its data sets and then it comes up with the average. And the average is generally seen as attractive looking. That's why a lot of the results look good. If we're not talking about the mistakes, like having extra limbs, extra fingers, etc., extra digits. Aside from the mistakes that it might generate, a lot of times it makes something good looking because the average is generally seen as attractive. But because it only focuses on the average, you can't come up with creative, because for creative, you need to come up with extremes. Extremes are seen as less appealing in general because it will appeal towards a specific niche. But the people who are really into that extreme will really like it. For example, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Like that art style is wacky. It's very far stylized into a certain point. And some people are gonna look at it and be like, they're gonna look at it and say this looks ugly. But the people who are really into JoJo's, they really like the art style because of how extreme it is. And that's why I feel like artists should not be afraid of AI replacing them, because the best stuff is going to be primarily human made. It's going to be directed through a human at the end of the day, rather than primarily directed through prompts and AI generation. That's why all these videos that people circulate online saying, "Oh, look at! I can't wait." Oh, excuse me. I can't wait for AI to generate games, and it's always like the person just running straight forward, or if they're doing more than just run straight forward, the world ends up getting bizarre and messed up because it can't figure out what to do. It doesn't know. Okay, so let me. I'm from Indonesia. I know the Brandoville case. I'm sorry. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. Brandoville. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about Brandoville because I don't want this video to get buried by the algorithm. But look up People Make Games and check out their video on Brandoville. And it's like, I don't agree with the stuff that People Make Games make. I think they are wacky people that push for DEI stuff that hurts, employment. They push for all these virtue signaling things, but I'll give them credit where credit's due. Check out their video on. Let me just. YouTube. I'll just put it in the chat. I'm gonna put it in the chat real quick. So Brandoville People Make Games. All right. Yeah. Okay. So this is like a 50-minute long video. Stop playing. Stop playing. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna post in the chat. There we go. All right. So you can check it out later. Star Platinum. Yeah, I've seen those AI runner games. I had a student. Make. For my class I teach, I basically just have them make a platformer. But he made one of those like infinite runner. Yeah, not infinite runner, but like one of those runner games where you're supposed to run between the like at +5 or ×2, I mean I passed him. I gave him a pass because his game was the best. Very crazy. I don't think I have it saved. I should use his game footage for B-roll some point. I should re-download his game. I saw. Okay, let me see. Okay. Hey, I like that about people make games dirty side. Can't help it. They are former Eurogamer journalists after all. I mean, like, yeah. I think that I do not agree with their wacky social politics, but I will give credit where credit's due, and they put out an important video with this one. So let me. Wow, a bunch of exploitive mainland Chinese. What explains them treating employees like garbage? Oh, okay, yeah. Younger millennial Gen Z mainland Chinese are mostly okay. The older ones. Generative AI is stealing the show right now, but limited AI is actually our artist tool that can help folks in production. Okay. All right, let me get back. Did I talk about... All right. This is my last point on here. Okay. So, the integrity of the art. Tim Sweeney says, the AI tag is relevant to art exhibits for authorship disclosure. It makes no sense for game stores. He believes that games are commercial products where efficiency is more important than where efficiency matters more than authorship. This ends up devaluing the game industry as a whole. If games are just commercial products, like shampoo, they aren't art. But if games are art, then authorship matters to the buyers. Tim's critics argue that games are art. Just like you wouldn't want a print of a painting sold as an original, gamers want to know if the soul of the game came from a human or an algorithm. And the problem with this is that the problem with their argument is that they're seeing human-made as superior to using AI tools for efficiency. Ignoring, as I stated before, the AI label is not an indication of intention or quality. It just means that they use the tool. It can be slop, but it can also be good. If games are art, we should value the handcrafted nature of them. The made with AI label acts as a warning sticker. But if you have a human-made label, such as organic or natty, the label acts more like a badge of honor. It celebrates the human element of the product. It celebrates the human element of the game, rather than policing whether it was made with a game or not. Sorry, rather than policing whether it was made with a machine or not. Though, again, the flaw with this is that it's going to get harder and harder to determine what exactly is made with AI or not. Operating systems such as Windows have Copilot integrated into them. It might be near impossible to find out if a game is 100% AI free. We need to have a clear definition as to what exactly is human made when it comes to games. Because if these labels don't have clear definitions, then we can't proceed forward. Overall, this issue is more nuanced than black or white. Even Notch's solution, which I think is better than made with AI label, has issues. It's more nuanced than Tim is an out-of-touch billionaire trying to churn out slop. Tim is right about the future of game development. AI is going to be integrated into everything. From code completion to upscaling images. A binary made with AI label is going to quickly become useless. Especially when over 90% of games have that label. However, the critics are right. Although the critics are right about consumers not wanting slop and want to support the human element of entertainment. I believe that Notch's reverse labeling is the best solution moving forward. But it is deeply flawed. I said that again, but I'm going to edit all this out. It creates a verification nightmare where developers have to prove a negative doesn't exist. It creates a verification nightmare where developers have to prove a negative, which is I didn't use AI. There is no black and white solution here. But demanding a human-made certification is arguably a more positive aspirational goal, rather than policing the inevitable of people using AI in their game. Thanks for getting this far in the video. If you haven't already, leave a like. I'll see you soon. Take care. Salam. Okay, so that was the video. Let me get to the chat. Did I get any? Okay, no more notifications. If you want to drop a super chat, again, that's always welcome, but it is not necessary. Let me see where. Okay, let me see. I read that. Job security is but in Indonesia. I understand why some people would punch themselves if it gets them through for another month. Yeah, I mean, people are desperate. Like people do whatever if they're desperate. So the entire Brandoville case, perpetrators. Oh, that's my wife. Perpetrators are possibly from other country all along. Wow. Not possibly. They are from another country. You can look up the case. Both founders, wife and husband, are mainland Chinese. Not saying anything about race, though. Okay, deleted. Star Platinum. Yeah, I've seen those AI. Oh, okay. I already read these. I'm goofy. All right. Hey, I like that you know. Okay. Yeah, I already read that. I read that. Okay. All right, this one. All right. I took a keyboard rock song I played very badly on my casino back in college and ran it through Suno. It sounds like a real song now. That's the problem, man. I see your point now. Yeah, I can get on the made with AI human label. Though I don't think made by AI label will expire that fast, though. RAM prices and socio environment impact will limit AI soon. I wish you luck with your vids, man. Hey, thanks, the Red Ribbon Army. Yeah. So, yeah, that's so the main point with this video that I'm going to edit and put together and release. The main point is that I feel like a lot of people are making this into a black and white thing when it should be a more nuanced issue with layers to it. And defining a solution is not so simple. Even the solution that I think is best, which is Notch's solution, has flaws. And that's the problem with a lot of these nuanced issues, is that you're probably not going to have any clean solution. Every solution will have issues. I think this is comparable to, as far as my stance on this is comparable to the issue with censorship, is that a lot of people see censorship as black or white, and it's not that case at all. There's a lot of nuance to it. For example, I don't think the government should stop people from saying criticism of certain, like whatever issue. We should not be stopped from talking about, what the government's doing, medications, like whatever, like whatever the topic is, we should be allowed to talk about it without the government intervening. But at the same time, I feel like a society should not have, like, for example, a naked person, like completely 100% naked on a billboard. If you want to call that censorship, then whatever. Or I guess a more realistic example would be having, naughty magazines. From what I understand, in Europe, they'll just have them on the grocery store rack. And in America, you have to have them like in a black bag, a black opaque bag, because they're not allowed to have that magazine's cover because it has a naked person on it. They're not allowed to have that out in public. Do you want to call that censorship? I mean, the way how I see it, those aren't the same. You're not talking about the same thing. I think it's more than just black and white, because there are people who say, no censorship at all, otherwise it's a slippery slope. But then that means you'd have to allow for things with children in it. Is that what you want to advocate for? I don't think so. I don't think a lot of these people aren't even thinking that deep into it. The point being is it's a nuanced issue, and there's a lot of layers to it, and coming up with a blanket solution doesn't work. And that's my view on same with this. It's not a simple one answer. You have to think about all the different layers. Yeah, censorship should consider the median and target audience, time and place, I guess. You two of them sending me a video about how there's an AI and lets anyone stream an e-girl. Yeah. Okay. So I hit my 90 minutes. So if anyone wants to mention anything else in the chat, go ahead. Um, Sorry that the video had too many ads earlier. I didn't realize it was set to automatic, and automatic means very frequently for YouTube. So hopefully that's fixed. And anyways, yeah. So if you haven't already, please leave a like if you haven't, so that once this video once YouTube starts looking for the audience tomorrow for this live stream, the like will help push it. And I really appreciate all of you guys who have been chatting with me during this live stream. It's always a lot more fun. Even though I'm having a headache right now, and I'm going to have to lay down. But I really appreciate you guys sticking around. And you know, if I say anything like drastically incorrect, you know, let me know. We can have a discussion. The point of me having these discussions is so that we can discuss. I think that is more important than being like so firm that this is a black and white issue. Because if we don't have discussions, then we can't solve problems. Closing off discussions is not a solution. And there's a time and place to be passionate. I do agree that there's a time and place to be passionate about certain issues. Stop moving. There we go. Because sometimes we gotta be passionate. Okay, like, okay, we don't want government. We don't want you to go into war with this country, and then we gotta be passionate about it. I think that's important to be passionate about certain things. Put a foot down, but certain issues, I think we should be more open and be able to have open discussions. Let me. Good luck, man. Left you a like. Thank you. Thanks, you Red Ribbon Army. Hope I can hype it too when it's live. Get well. So, hey, I appreciate it. Anyways, all you guys take care. I'm going to end this right now because got nothing else to say.